Let's go over an update for the new Star Wars Trilogy. This is Mike Zero here once again. If you guys are new here to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, in case you guys didn't know, a couple of weeks ago, producer Ram Bergman and director and writer Rian Johnson, we actually learned that they are now past the brainstorming stages of their new trilogy, and it is now in the complete works, and it will be released at some point in time in the mid-2020s. In fact, in late 2019, the script should be finished, so we got a ways to go before we see any material of this new trilogy. However, in a recent interview by the LA Times in the South by Southwest Festival, Rian Johnson made a couple of statements involving the whole entire new trilogy and how he has to make vital stories for it to essentially make sense. So, in this article, which by the way will be linked below in the description, go ahead and check it out, it states the duo finds themselves back at the beginning, brainstorming ideas for the new Star Wars trilogy. Johnson is tasked with writing and directing for Lucasfilm. Now, don't get confused with the whole brainstorming thing because they are past that as of right now. Unless they reverted. It's an interesting thought. But looking past all of this, it does in fact state, and this is what Rian Johnson had to say, it's fun because it's kind of thinking, okay, outside of the Skywalker story and outside of the recognizable iconography, what is this? What is Star Wars? And what do we need to retain from that to pull forward for it to still be Star Wars? And what can we leave behind? Johnson explained. He goes on and concludes to say, they're all the big questions that need to be thought of, and even the ones that we don't know the answers to are things we need to figure out if Star Wars is going to be vital and alive moving forward, and not just be a waxworks. We're going to have to figure out how to tell vital new stories. Now, looking at Rian Johnson's statement there toward the very end is something that honestly piques my interest about the whole entire vital news stories and how they can't just do something that's going to be waxworks. It has to be Star Wars at its heart. I know that there was a lot of negativity and backlash against The Last Jedi, and I honestly, and I've gone over this many times before in the past, that I did in fact disagree with a lot of the decisions that were implemented in The Last Jedi. However, I also have noticed that there's a lot of trust issues with Rian Johnson developing a new trilogy for the Star Wars franchise. I noticed that as well. As for me, it's really hard to judge something before it comes out, but at the same exact time, I can understand everybody's feelings out there as well. And honestly, I think that given that he's making a whole entire new trilogy on a blank canvas and that it's not going to be connected to any existing Star Wars lore, I just hope that maybe he actually reverts the whole entire concept and maybe does something that we are familiar with. Maybe do something crazy like the Yuzong Fong War, or maybe even a whole entire trilogy placed within the Outer Rim, or maybe even in the unknown regions, I should say. Looking at all of that, I think that there's a lot of potential to use from the whole entire Star Wars franchise. And I think, when we're looking at a Rian Johnson trilogy, I know that there's a lot of thoughts about that since The Last Jedi, so we're gonna have to wait and see exactly what kind of Star Wars movie he's going to deliver for us, the fans, and moving forward. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments section. When it comes to Rian Johnson, what do you think will essentially be a set of vital news stories for the Star Wars universe? And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.